This is the afternoon video update. This is for Monday, the 8th of January. Needless to say, got a lot to talk about today. We have a high-impact weather event tonight and early tomorrow. Another one at the end of this week on Friday. The coldest air so far this season due in here next week, and maybe some wintry mischief early next week. So just strap in and let's go. This is the upper air look as we look at the new system coming in. As expected, a very deep dynamic trough, very strong wind fields aloft west of the state that will provide the dynamic support for a lot of wind, a lot of rain across the deep south tonight. The sky mostly cloudy across Alabama. Clouds have steadily been increasing. Clouds are thicker back off to the west. This is the current radar composite. We're live at about 2:30 on Monday afternoon. You can see some light rain falling over the southern half of Alabama, more widespread rain back off to the west, and a few thunderstorms on the coast of Louisiana. And I do note one tornado warning in effect for parts of southeastern Texas. So temperatures are looking like this. These were taken about 1 o'clock today. And obviously with numbers like this over the northern part of the state, we don't expect any severe weather problems tonight. The air is cool and stable. To the south, we're watching numbers for Mobile and Dothan. Even Dothan sitting at 49 at 1 o'clock, Mobile 58. And there's a pretty good chance the warm sector will get into South Alabama tonight, extreme South Alabama in the Florida Panhandle, setting up the potential for severe thunderstorms there. Now, again, away from storms, non-thunderstorm winds, gradient winds, will be very high statewide tonight. There's a wind advisory in effect for basically all of Alabama. And south of Interstate 10 in Mobile and Baldwin counties, that is a high wind warning in effect for tonight. We also note a flash flood watch for parts of South Mississippi and Louisiana. And around the nation, it's a mess. I mean, somebody got the crayons out here today. Look at all of that. The thing lighting up like a Christmas tree. We've got wind issues all across the southern U.S., from New Mexico to the Atlantic coast. We have blizzard warnings in effect for parts of Nebraska, the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, eastern Colorado, western Kansas, southern Nebraska. Winter storm warnings up into parts of Wisconsin. And again, blizzard warnings in effect for the mountains of Washington State and Oregon. It's very, very active here for the next 10 to 20 days. So again, just get ready for anything. Here's a look at the severe weather threat for the rest of today and tonight. And really not much change in the outlook from SPC, the Storm Prediction Center. And the main concern for severe weather, extreme South Alabama and the Florida Panhandle. And the orange on that map, that is an enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5. Of severe storms. I'd say that the chance of any severe weather as far north as Montgomery, very low because the air is very cool and very stable. Let's look at the latest probabilistic outlooks from SPC. This is the tornado probabilistic outlook, and you can see the chance of a tornado within 25 miles of a point in the enhanced risk area is 10 to 14%. And we note that hatched area. That means there could be a strong tornado involved. By definition, that's EF2 or higher. And this is the probabilistic outlook for damaging wind, in excess of 58 miles per hour, and the chance of that within 25 miles of a given point in extreme South Alabama is 30 to 44%. So again, the storms that move through the Gulf Coast region tonight could pack a big-time punch. So this is the outlook tomorrow, and we have an enhanced risk of severe storms from southeast Alabama and North Florida up through parts of the Carolinas, including the Outer Banks. And this is the outlook for after 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, after 6 a.m. Central Time. We have an enhanced risk for the southeastern corner of the state. And again, that would include Dothan, Geneva, Abbeville, Headland, Ozark, Enterprise, places like that. And the probabilistic outlook about the same. And there could be a strong tornado, same type situation there. And the same thing with damaging winds. So again, for the southeastern corner of the state, the risk of severe storms coming after 6 a.m. tomorrow. So this is day 3, which is Wednesday, no severe weather expected. Day 4, Thursday, look at here, got another risk setting up west of the state. And on day 5, which is Friday, the next system comes in with another chance of severe storms. And with this one, the instability values should be farther north. And if that's the case, we could see a few severe storms as far north as Winfield, Aniana, and Gadsden, the areas in yellow on that map. And again, this is for Friday at the end of the week, and we'll take a look at all the modeling on this in just a second. This is the rain for the next 7 days, valid through Monday morning of next week, and obviously a lot. The Weather Service putting out this outlook. This is from the NDFD, the National Digital Forecast Database. And this is the rain with the event tonight and tomorrow morning. And you can see for parts of Alabama, this one event could bring 3 to 4 inches of rain. That would include places like Montgomery and Mobile. For Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Anniston, Gadsden, rain amounts between 2 and 3 inches are likely. Lighter amounts up in the northwestern corner of the state, but even there, amounts will likely exceed 1 inch. And needless to say, with numbers like that, in a short period of time, there could be some flooding issues tonight or early tomorrow morning. So, model fans, let's look at the specifics of the event tonight. This is what the radar will probably look like, or something close to this, at 2 a.m. after midnight tonight. And again, North Alabama, the northern half of the state, a lot of rain. We don't expect any severe storms over the northern half of the state, and probably nothing for Montgomery in terms of severe storms. The main concern, it's going to be really along and south of US 84 initially. And this is the limiting factor for the northern two-thirds of the state, the lack of surface-based instability. This is the projected surface-based CAPE. CAPE stands for Convective Available Potential Energy. That's buoyancy, and you need that for severe storms. And this is valid at 2 a.m., and you can see that the instability is limited to the southwestern corner of the state. And if we're going to see a tornado in the state, that's where it's going to happen at that hour, or the Florida Panhandle. Now, the shear values are off the chart. We all know that with the dynamic system coming in. But again, there's no instability over the northern two-thirds of the state. This is the significant tornado parameter, the STP. And this is valid at 2 a.m. And the numbers are elevated over Washington, Mobile, Baldwin, and Escambia counties. And that's the initial concern. And also over the western tip of the Florida Panhandle, over toward Pensacola, Navarre, Pace, Florida, places like that. Let's advance the STP to 4 a.m. And those elevated STP numbers are over the Florida Panhandle. So again, this is going to be a middle-of-the-night thing for the Gulf Coast, and obviously people are going to need to be able to get those warnings. I'll go through the specific timing in just a second, but I do want to mention the wind here, and understand we're going to see strong winds statewide. I'm afraid people are having a hard time understanding the differentiation here between severe storms and gradient winds. Gradient winds statewide. It will be very windy from the Tennessee state line to the Gulf Coast tonight. And these are projected peak wind gusts coming off the HRRR model. And for most spots, we've got potential. And this is not persistent winds, but wind gusts could hit 45, maybe 50 miles per hour in spots. And that will be capable of knocking down some trees and causing some power outages. And many school systems have decided to delay their start tomorrow morning statewide because of that. And you'll get notes from your individual system there. But again, very windy tonight. And the core of those strong winds really ramping up about 6 o'clock this evening through 6 a.m. tomorrow. So just be aware of that. So this is the timing we have on the severe thunderstorm threat in South Alabama. The southwestern corner of the state may be as early as 10 o'clock, but it really looks like the bulk of the activity will come after midnight. But again, we'll say for Mobile and Washington counties, 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. For Baldwin County, over toward, say, Bruton, Florala, the western tip of the Florida Panhandle, the window between midnight and 7 a.m., and then Dothan, Enterprise, Panama City Beach, places like that, the window between 2 and 9 a.m., and again, that core tornado threat is going to be in that orange zone on that map, the enhanced risk. And, of course, the call to action is to be sure you can hear warnings if a tornado warning is issued at 1:45 a.m. or 2:45 a.m. And, again, if you take the time to watch this video, there's a good chance you're a weather dweeb, a weather dork, weenie, nerd. But you can help us by reminding your friends that if they rely on an outdoor warning siren to let them know a tornado's coming at 3 a.m., they just don't have any hope, and there's a big problem there. And, of course, as we've been preaching for decades, the baseline for getting a warning, it's a weather radio, NOAA weather radio in your house. But if you're using your phone exclusively, be sure that the Do Not Disturb feature is not turned on, because you want to get those loud notifications late tonight. So that's the situation tonight. We got 2 more situations coming up. So let's roll through the next 10, 15 days. This is the GFS, the 12Z run valid tomorrow at 4. You can see the very intense trough. coming out of the Plain States. A surface low is just south of Chicago. A secondary surface low near Jacksonville. And for Alabama, the bulk of the heavy rain should be east of here by midday tomorrow, really by mid-morning tomorrow. And a decent chunk of the day will be cloudy, windy, and colder. Temperatures will likely settle into the 40s during the day for the northern half of the state and stay there. And again, this could be a whopper of a snowstorm for places like St. Louis, Des Moines, Milwaukee, parts of Chicago, Detroit, Grand Rapids. So let's go to Wednesday, and obviously at that point everything's nice and quiet. High should be in the 50s, 60s likely for South Alabama. Thursday, pretty decent day. Again, we'll be up in the 60s for a pretty good chunk of the state. And then Friday, boom, here comes our next system. Another system very much like the one we're dealing with tonight. The surface low is sitting on the Ohio River near Paducah, Kentucky. And again, this could be another whopper of a snowstorm for St. Louis and Kansas City, Des Moines and Chicago and Detroit. And down here, very windy and very wet. And this time, the instability values are farther north. This is suggesting instability values will likely surge into the southern two-thirds of the state, maybe as far north as Hamilton, Cullman, Gadsden. And again, that's the reason you see a severe weather outlook that looks like this on Friday. That risk on Friday extends as far north now as Winfield and Aniana and Gadsden, but this could change as we get closer to Friday. And again, what we'd like to do is get past tonight, and then we can focus on this one. Like a football coach, we like to take these one at a time. We need to see what the atmosphere looks like after the storm system tonight, and then we'll focus on this one. Just be aware that Friday could be a very active weather day. So Saturday, those storms are gone, and it turns windy and cold. Saturday, temperatures will be in the 40s, maybe 30s for the Tennessee Valley. Probably a lot of backwash clouds around, windy, cold, blustery. And then Sunday, we're dry. Sunday morning, we should be well down in the 20s. We'll expect to freeze pretty much statewide Sunday morning. And the high Sunday will be in the 40s for North Alabama, 50s for the southern counties of the state. Let's go to a week from today. This is Monday the 15th, and here comes our next potential issue. And obviously, that upper air pattern is going to deliver some very cold air. These are temperature anomalies on Monday evening of next week, coming off the European, and they're basically off the charts over the central plain states. And that really cold air, it's going to seep in here. Not just rush in here, but seep in here. And initially, the cold air will be shallow. And sometimes, when that happens, that opens up the door for more of a freezing rain problem instead of a snow problem. So this is Monday of next week off the GFS. And let me just say up front, this is 7 days out in a very active pattern. I promise this map will look different almost every time you look at it. But at this particular run, the GFS depicting a chance of freezing rain, potential for some ice accumulation over North Alabama Monday and Monday night of next week. But again, this will change. I don't want you to get too focused on that. The screaming message, it's the cold air coming in. And later in the week, we can be more specific if we have any winter mischief at all. This could be a situation where we have some snow, some freezing rain, or nothing at all. Understand, anything is on the table at this point. But again, the GFS here depicting there could be some freezing rain problems. And in this pattern, there's credibility to that with the cold air being shallow. When the cold air is deep, it's snow. When the cold air is shallow, it can be freezing rain. And then the European, this is valid Tuesday morning of next week, and the just bottom drops out. This is suggesting single-digit lows north of Birmingham. Birmingham 11, Huntsville 7. And again, I don't know if it's going to be that cold, but it could be. But it's certainly, I think the safe thing to say is the fact that we're going to see the coldest air so far this season by the middle part of next week. So let's go out 10 days, Thursday of next week, the 18th. Very cold vortex to the north, and we are cold and dry if this works out. There's a look at the anomalies at that time, and again, we're solidly in the green off both the GFS and the European, suggesting it's going to be pretty cold. Peek at rain for Birmingham. This is coming off the European ensemble. The mean, a little over 4 inches between now and the 23rd of January. And here's the latest numbers coming off the NBM, the National Blend of Models. And remember, out there in the longer range, this will skew toward climatology, skew toward what we expect, averages. But you can see the warmest day should be Friday with 62, and that's the day when we might see severe storms statewide. And then 40s for the weekend. And by Wednesday morning of next week, the NBM has 19 at Birmingham. And don't be shocked if those numbers come down as we get closer to that big Arctic invasion. In fact, this is the latest 8 to 14-day guidance just in moments ago. This is for January 16th through the 22nd, and we are solidly in the blue. Temperatures should be well below average, and it could be pretty cold out there in that stretch. So real quick, a few more things here before we go. Want to go back if you're just joining us. A lot of people are watching live. And in terms of the threats for Alabama tonight, number one, it's gradient winds statewide. We have a wind advisory statewide tonight, a high wind warning for southern Mobile and Baldwin counties, and we could easily see winds gusting to 45, 50 miles per hour in spots tonight, between 6 p.m. tonight, 6 a.m. tomorrow, and this is statewide. In terms of the severe threat, the main chance of severe storms and tornadoes tonight, extreme South Alabama, especially south of US 84, in that orange on that map, where you see the times highlighted. And a lot of this will be after midnight, between midnight and 6 o'clock. But that stretch from Mobile over to Dothan and the Florida Panhandle, everybody needs to be very weather aware tonight and be sure you can receive warnings in the middle of the night if they are needed. And real quick, the one thing we have to do here on the afternoon update, we have to roll some kid cam video. Yeah, buddy, I was in Weaver today, home of the Bearcats in Calhoun County. These are my friends in kindergarten at Weaver. I've been coming to see the kindergarten classes there for many, many years. Typically come around this time of the year in January, and they are looking good. And love that school. That's a great school. The teachers, the administrative staff, they are great. And I think they want it to snow. Look at this now. They gave me a basket with milk and bread. And actually in the milk jug, they had Hershey's Kisses. And the bread was not bread. It was a pound cake. But that was a great gift basket. So here's hoping that they're going to get some kind of snow this winter time. But again, to all the kids out at Weaver Elementary School in Calhoun County, you guys are looking great. We had a fun visit earlier today. The Children's of Alabama Kid Cam. So, again, tomorrow, a lot of schools are on a delay, which kind of puts my schedule in question. I'm scheduled to be tomorrow in Fort Payne at Little Ridge Intermediate School, Wednesday, Millbrook Middle School, Thursday, Hillcrest High School, Friday, McAdory Elementary. That one's iffy because of the severe weather threat. We have a big outreach event in Selma coming up on Saturday. This is to commemorate the one-year anniversary of the tornado that came through January of 2023. And again, I'm going to post the details up on the social media platforms later this evening. But hopefully we'll see you at one of those events. And, of course, tonight is Weather Brains night. Every Monday night we have our show on weather. Weather Brains, we're doing it for... Goodness, we started in 2006, so we're 18 years old at the end of this month. But we'll be on at 7 Central, 8 o'clock Eastern, youtube.com/weatherbrains. That's the live way to watch it on YouTube. And, of course, the audio podcast version drops early tomorrow morning. And, of course, we invite you to watch us on TV this evening, ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless.